What up, nerds? Bujo Head Jody here. I've been bullet journaling since 2017, and I would like to show you my December monthly for 2020. Well, good riddance to this year, right? We got 1 month left, obviously less now. I recorded this earlier, but I just hadn't gotten around to doing the voiceover. So, I went with a pretty simple theme. These big, bold borders. You're gonna see me doing a lot of simple lines. Notice that the borders on the inside, I've made the edges sharp, but on the outside, they're a little bit rounded. You can see it better here as I'm outlining what is going to be a mini calendar. I will be turning my book, my Bujo, around. You'll actually see a very interesting evolution of it. I think I recently watched one of Amanda Rachley's, here's tips and tricks, and she always does this with straight lines. She just pulls it towards herself. So on the cover page here, we're gonna start with a quote from an iconic song from this year, F 2020. For my theme this month, not much doodles, but I do use a couple of quotes from this song. This one on the cover page here, "Can we just get to 2021?" Which I think is everyone's sentiment right now. And then just a deck for my lettering this month. We're trying to do sort of you see that E there, a little drop in the middle line, anywhere. You also notice the 2021, the numerals are sort of staggered. That's sort of one of design choice we went with. You also see the A there in can, has a lower middle bar there. Lots of erasing, because I did outline all of these boxes. So get ready for lots of erasing. It's very exciting. Going back to our old school ways. And then the theme, if it can be called a theme, is sort of these stripy and these fun semi-holiday colors. These mild liners, I think this is the closest you can get to just pure red. As you'll notice, I'm doing these diagonal lines. They look a little bit like candy canes. You'll notice me moving the pen in a strange way. So what I'm doing is I'm using the chisel tip, and I'm actually flipping it based on if the border is a horizontal border, so that I can cleanly make that sort of 45-degree angle line. Of course, the corners kind of have their own rules, so I'm making up as I go along a little bit. And this is definitely for someone who's a bit more dexterous. I do like these colors. I think the like pseudo red is the kind of the odd man out of them. Like I think the tone of this pink and the red don't really go as well as the darker and lighter purples. But I'm sort of keeping them in their own little borders. I did think possibly about instead of having just white stripes, having 2 colors for each border. But I nixed that pretty quickly once I realized how not tedious, but it took some time. It was to do just one color. And I'm sure, the colors would have mixed, and I would have been a little bit frustrated with that, and it's kind of easier just to keep it one color per box. So now you'll see, sort of doing this, dragging it towards me, which does work really well. Which I have done before, I just sometimes get lazy and I don't want to turn the page, or turn the whole book around, so. But this time I think I pretty much did. I'm also making sure not to get too close to an edge, so you'll see me doing these top lines here last. This spread is my usual first spread. Beginning, end, difference. Although this month I'm using delta instead of difference. It means difference. It's but I just kind of, I liked it instead of different. I was gonna go diff, we've got our assets up top, which are like checking and savings accounts, and then my debts, which are all my credit cards, all my paid off credit cards, yes. And then my targets down at the bottom. My targets are basically my budget and my hours goals for work. So I've got in my assets and debts, it goes start, end, delta, and then for targets is my plan, my actual, and then the delta between those two, the difference. That top delta there, so I'm actually going to be I take all of the debts and assets, so that's basically total amount that everything has moved. I am putting in these sort of markers for where each section really starts and ends. This was actually helpful. I do have one box, per digit usually, when I actually fill this in. So that's really helpful for making everything line up and look pretty, and I count that all out beforehand. I usually leave myself 7 spaces. Ever more erasing. Being careful with the corners. Getting a little crazy here. And now we're going in with the colors. So I do have the 5 colors. So I'm trying, I did this on the fly of placement. Just sort of went with the gut. We're starting with this pink because there are 4 boxes, and with my 5 colors, I'm going to have to repeat 2 of the colors that are from the cover page. And so because this pink I used at the very, very bottom, I'm putting this up at the top as far away from it as possible. And then my 2 different colors, which are the light purple here and the gray, are going to go in the 2 bigger, more prominent boxes in the center. Sort of balance everything out. So that was the light purple, and now we're going to go in with the gray. I'm sure you know this before. You can see very prominently here, I'm trying to alternate which direction the stripes are going in. Just sort of give it a little bit more chaotic, less uniform look to them, so that any sort of, you know, ununiform stripes don't come off as strange. Sort of leaning into the hand-drawnness of it. And then for my last repeated color, I'm taking that red and again placing that as far away from the other red as possible. Sort of see me do that flip, getting a little bit better at it. So there were some just directions that were hard. Especially the ending spacing there. So second spread. This will be my transaction log and my hourly log. Kind of find it funny. I think I mention every time this is not my usual order. Although I think in most monthly videos that I've posted that this is now my new normal. Having this spread be the second pages, it's actually very helpful when I'm flipping, because I'll flip here pretty much every day and log something in. So on the left-hand side, and this second bottom on the right-hand side, those are both for transaction logs, basically anything I do with my money. And then this top box here for the right-hand side of the page, that one is for my hourly log. For transactions, write down the date, the amount, which account, the total for that account, description of what it is. Am I paying off a bill? Am I buying a Christmas present? And then the budget. Certain things don't count for counting towards the budget. Like if I'm paying off a credit card, that's money I'd already spent in a previous month, so that does not count. I also don't count any income that I make. That's not, money that I've spent towards budget. And then for my hours, I write down the date, the hours, total, which are the total hours, my income. I do our payroll, so I can actually do that calculation just for myself on the fly. And then the increase, which is basically the difference between the day before. Just, what gets measured gets managed. So, and then repeated, give myself a little extra room. I filled in a lot of this spread. I had bought all my Christmas presents. And because I had a lot more transactions this month, I did double up on some lines just to fit everything in. I think I did that in October as well. I was running out of room, so I think the last little section. Oh no. I was not careful with a corner. That's okay. Mistakes happen. But yeah, in October I ran out of room, so I started doubling up on lines and fit it all in, but sometimes you gotta improvise. I have considered making the transactions a just straight up 2-page spread. Because I wouldn't have enough room for the hours if I gave, I'm giving the minimal amount of space that I possibly can for the days I know I'm going to work in this spread. So I have toyed around with maybe making it a full 2-page spread. I know at least for 2020, I have run out of room in this Bujo. I only have so much room, so these spreads need to be together. So maybe in 2021, we'll see. I'm making a couple changes. Heads up, I've definitely started planning for that. I haven't filmed it yet. I'm sure you'll see it in the end of January, so get ready. So this, for the colors, we're going with just the purples, and I'm actually deliberately making the 2 transaction logs have this same light purple. So you can kind of see that they go together. I think the bottom of the frame was always the toughest. There were some points I couldn't see how far away I was from the previous line, so things either got too spaced out or too swished together. So there were definitely times I had to be just let it go, a little bit of a perfectionist, so sometimes it's hard to just do it, just get it done. Doesn't need to be perfect. I did sometimes when I hit that corner there, where you don't have to do anything. Just move on to the next line. But it looks good, and I really enjoyed filling out these. This spread makes me happy. This will be my calendar, my big calendar. This took some definite counting, some arranging. We got a couple more boxes with quotes from F2020, and I'm definitely trying very hard to be deliberate about where the inside sharp corners versus the outside wavy corners are. I think it came out pretty nice. Plus, there's not too much of a difference between the two, so if I messed up, I could just sort of round out a corner or sharpen something fairly easily. Like there. And I rounded that out a little bit because it's technically an outside corner, even though it's, you know, flexing in. So we're working on our now and later boxes, the now being much bigger. Which usually works out well. They're very thin. I think this is because the borders were they took up one whole space. So I had a little less space for just the width of those extra boxes. But that's alright. I throw some lists in there, so I didn't need them to be super big. I do like finishing off the boxes. It's very satisfying when you flipping the book around and you know it's gonna finish up all right, but it's very nice to make those last little marks. The little box there is actually a continuation from the cover page, so it says please, and then we're going to write the days of the week. My weeks start on a Monday because I'm in charge. Now in later boxes. And the refrain of the song, low key, F 2020. And I am trying to maintain the sort of lowered center of those letters. Sometimes it doesn't come out alright. I am throwing in these little crosses to denote the days. And now I hadn't decided how to do the numbers. I think that's the one part that I don't like. I put the numbers at the bottom. They did fit well, but I think I got a little confused as I'm using it. I've been getting a little confused as to which day is what, because all my tasks I would put as far up as possible to leave space, but then it's right under the number from the previous week. So I think there's one thing I would change. I might put the numbers up at the top, or even like in the center, just somewhere else other than directly at the bottom. I think it's just because there's no actual lines. It's a little vague as to which box the number belongs to. So I think if those lines were solid lines, it'd be fine to put the number at the bottom. Which I do. I'll switch that up now and then. Lots of erasing. very therapeutic. Checking for a little bit of pencil lines. I find pencil lines after I'm completely done with this. No, I think if I remember correctly, because I had used all the purples on the previous spread, I used those remaining colors here. So to highlight the lyrics, we put light pink. And the big box is going to be this big red. I think the reason I hesitated, I wasn't quite sure which direction I wanted to put the low-key box. So I wanted to go through with this red. And I, just because of how these corners move, I definitely picked the wrong direction. So you'll see like this corner right here, I have to start the line one direction and finish it with the pen in the other direction. And because this shape has the top left and the bottom right corners sort of, taken out, there are more of those, like that direction of corner than there are of the easier ones, which is the one I just did previously. So if I had gone in the other direction, there would be more easy corners. Oh, you live and you learn. And then so I'm using the final color, the gray. I think it's for both the now and later boxes. Yep, for both of them. I alternate. Beauteous. And that final pink box, also alternating the direction. I think even though those two, the pink and the red, they're not quite, I don't have the same sort of base tones to them. I really do like, you keep them far enough apart and they look, it's very festive, So now this spread is sort of new. It's definitely something I want to incorporate more into my monthly spreads, and these are some trackers. I'm tracking a couple different things. One thing is something I already track, but I usually do it in my yearly spreads, which I am a runner. I run. My New Year's resolution this past year was to run a half marathon, which of course got canceled. So I'm still doing some of my running program, making it through, but my yearly spread, because I changed exactly how I was tracking, I've actually run out of room, and so I can only do probably about half of December. So I decided I was going to track a couple other things, so I decided to put it here. And so it's not just running, it is my workout schedule, because when I'm not running, I'm trying to not be a weak little human. And so I wrote that all down. I have found actually that it is a lot easier to track and plan if I'm not doing it the full month in advance. So I only really fill this in so the week before. So it also depends on whether or not I've gotten out and done my running, So if I don't, then I just do it the next week. But in general, I have certain days that I run. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday are my running days. And so other days are for other workouts. So this top spread here, we've got just a little bit of space for what week it is. So we're putting in the dates there. And then I'll put space in. I'll put those little crosses in to denote the days. My second tracker is I play Pokemon Go because I am a cool kid. And if you don't know, they have a special if you get to the top level, or what was previously the top level. They have a little special quest you can go on. You get a hat. So I had not gotten there. I'm close, but not there yet. So I wanted to track my points to get there. And this last spread that I'm hesitating on, for Christmas, my mother got me a bourbon advent calendar. And this is me realizing that advent calendars only go to the 24th. When I had counted out the boxes for the 25th. So I was not sure what I was going to do about it, but you'll see my solution later. So this is the running spread. So you'll notice that Tuesday, Thursday, Sundays have bigger sections. That's because the running is more complex than the others, just do the thing. Whereas the running, I have to sort of describe for how many minutes and for how long and, mileage and that kind of stuff. So the rest of these trackers give equal weight to each day. So for the Pokemon Go spread, it's just total amount of points. And then for the bourbon spread, I write down what it is, and then if I liked it or not. So then for the 25th, I just decided to draw a little candy cane. Which, yeah, it's good enough. Totally fine. Don't worry about it. So, we're gonna get these all erased. Fill in the colors and get that stuff ready for tracking. Yeah, so I do like having used it for half the month. Don't worry, I know what date it is. I do enjoy having the running tracker, and I think that's something that will definitely go forward. Obviously, they don't really make an advent calendar for January, so and hopefully I'll meet my point total. I mean, the whole point is to finish by the end of the year for the Pokemon Go thing. So we are going light purple. And so you'll see I actually picked the correct direction for this one. Even though I will be switching up the direction for the second box. But this one, you can see the amount of these sort of awkward corners is a lot less if the stripes go in this direction. So actually I am being smart with this one, because if this one goes in that direction, then the bottom one also goes in the same direction. So in total, I have limited my amount of awkward corners for this spread. As you can see, these smaller ones are very awkward. But they look good, so. I think at this point I'm getting tired of drawing lines. You'll see I go over some, or just say, you know, move on. And the final color is that dark purple. I find it interesting that certain of these markers, which they're all mild liners, especially like this one was a lot easier to use than, say, like the red one. Wasn't entirely sure why. What are you gonna do? One or two? Two! There you go. Beauteous. Yeah, so my trackers, my calendar, my logs, transaction and hours, and then my totals. And now all we have to do is put the last little flaggy on, and we are all set. So, thanks for hanging out. I will see you in a bit. Bye.